Howdy folks, Pilgrim here. Folks, here on this channel, I usually try to make my videos 10 minutes or shorter because I found through experience and time and experimentation that that's kind of the average medium of time that people are able to listen to. When the videos go over the 10-minute mark, then fewer people are willing to watch it because they're doing a lot of things, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're running to and fro, and I get that. I understand that, but so I try to cater my videos to the length of what people are able to listen to, and news reports, warnings, things like that. I try to put inside videos that are 10 minutes or less long. I'm not always successful, and sometimes important stuff has to be reserved for the videos that are longer, but I'm just explaining what I try to do here and why I try to do it. This is not one of those videos, although it's personal to me. Today is January 31st, and for those of you who've been with me from the beginning, you know a lot more about my history, about my life, my past, than some people in my own neighborhood do, and it just becomes a personal thing when you make videos and people get to know you. Here on this channel, some of you have seen me messing around with, I've discovered my ancestry, done my heritage and all that stuff, and you see me messing around with different manners of talking, and it's all been fun. I'm 48 years old. I don't feel like 48. I feel like 20. A 28-year-old stuck inside a 48-year-old body. And I've had my moments when I behave like a fool, I mess around with different ways of talking, with posture, just having fun. You can't. And when I'm taking the camera around with me and showing you things like that and so on, you're gonna see the human side of me, It's just the way it is. And some people, they then see you acting, having a little bit of fun or messing around with that, and say, he's not being truthful, he's being insincere, I'm not going to listen to him because... And they take things way too seriously, and they forget that I'm just a human being, as fallen and so on and so on. You get it. All right, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm not pretentious, I'm not a hypocrite, I'm not a liar, or any of all kinds of things that people might think when I'm not being absolutely serious and having something 100% to share and to be all some kind of learned teacher kind of thing. I'm not a learned teacher, I'm just this guy. And it's the way it is. But it's my wife trying to come in. He realizes I'm on camera, backs out quickly. But having said all that, those of you who know my past, I'm sharing all this. I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm just trying to say, I guess with what you know about me, having heard my testimony and stuff like that, it's kind of like talking to a group of friends. Some people take me too seriously, and other people are just getting to know me, which is not what this channel is for, by the way. It's not about me. I wanted to shine the light on God and share with you things that God has shared with me and things that you may not have known. And it's all good. It's all good. I've shared my visions and dreams on this channel that I've received from God. Things that spoke of things years in advance before they happened, so that I knew that they were from God. Things like the collapse of the Mexican-American border. I was shown that in 2010 in great detail. And then 5 years later, in March 2015, that exact thing happened exactly as I described, or as God described to me. Things like that. And that's what I'm always trying to do here, just to share and encourage faith in you. But again, you know, I guess I'm trying to approach a subject that I don't really know how to approach. Those of you who know me, who've seen me from the beginning and so on, know that the one thing I do not and will not and shall not speak about is hell. I've shared the visions and dreams that I've had on this channel from the beginning, except those about hell, and I will not share about them. It's just something I won't talk about. And from my testimony videos, you know that I said that when I was around 13, I had a series of visions about hell that were so real and so vivid, I would literally wake up. I mean, I literally, as a 12, 13-year-old boy, I woke up screaming in the middle of the night, drenched with sweat, because I felt the thing as if it had been really, as if it had actually happened. And these visions and dreams were so vivid, I literally woke up screaming and screaming and screaming. And the pain of what I went through was not red hot, it was white hot. But I'll never talk about, aside from what I've just told you, I will never go into detail about those dreams and so on. What's interesting is that those of you who followed me through my chase through ancestry, you knew me before I knew about my dad. You knew me before I knew about my origins and all of this stuff. And you've seen me as I was discovering it and so on. And this is all sounding very self-centered, and I don't intend it to be. I just want to thank you for being my friends and for being there. But what's really interesting is that in the last 2 years, and I'm not saying these two are connected at all, a large part of me doesn't believe they are, but it's just poignant. It's interesting. It's poignant that my grandmother, when my dad died, he took an overdose. My grandmother was an extremely difficult person to get along with. She did a lot of questionable things in her life, and I'm not her judge. And I certainly would not dishonor her. I think she had problems in her mind, and she's worthy of love, as all human beings are. But she had an emotional cutoff. I don't think she was emotionally connected to anyone or anything, and that's one of her problems. And when my dad took an overdose, she had him, with not even a day passed by. Within 24 hours, she had his body carted out of there, and he was cremated within 24 hours. And in the last 1.5 years, despite the rejection of me by the Stark family, because of their hatred of my grandfather and other reasons, they have so many infights and personal prejudices going on, it's ridiculous. And I've tried my best with them, and I've been given the message, it's like in the Bible where it says, you try to preach to a town, you try to give them your best shot, and there comes a point where you just have to brush the dust off your feet against them, and it's up to them. The ball is in their court now, if they want to carry on that way. I've tried to encourage them to heal the differences and the schisms that they have between them, and they have refused. But it's just funny that in the last 1.5 years that I've learned that the thought that occurs to me is that people who take overdoses aren't always dead. There's numerous cases where people are thought to be dead, and they're not, and they wake up sometime later, like 2 days later or something like that. Their body's still kicking over the massive overload of poison that's been dumped into their system. But by all checks and balances in checking, they seem to be dead. Computer monitor, low heart rate and so on, or no heart rate, no brain activity and so on, and then they wake up later and so on. And it's just this thought that occurred to me in the last year and a half or so, that my father was burned up within 24 hours. Not even a full day had passed. And in those days, when they burnt you, they didn't just draw out the blood and dry your body out, as is the modern day practice today. They actually put you in the fire. And this occurred around the same time that I would have these horrific visions of hell, being burned alive. And I began to wonder if the two are connected. Again, I don't think they are, because there was some distance between the two events, according to my memory, and not at the time. But I have to wonder if my dad was really dead. And when you're in a coma-like state, a death-like state, and the doctors don't even know if you're dead or not. And this has happened many, many times in reality. But when you're in that state, you feel everything that is happening to you. And you can't cry out, you can't do anything about it. And it's just a terrible thing that my dad was cremated within 24 hours. What was the hurry? Why the haste? And for the first time in my life, I have something to say, hey, this happened at the same time that these visions and dreams happened that were so horrific and so painful, so literal, so realistic, that I've never been able to speak about them. It wasn't just one, it was a series of them. And they occurred around the same age. And again, I'm not saying they are the same thing, but it sure gives me pause for thought. Because in those visions and dreams, I went through that experience. I didn't just view the experience as an outsider. I went through it. And it's kind of like a mental scar that exists to this day. And I just remember my dad. And it bothers me. That's all. My sister Carla in Florida, I'm not sure what went on or what went wrong with our communication. I don't know if I tried too hard. I don't know if politics became so important to your friends, to the social circles you mix in, or I don't know. But I want you to know that I love you, and you mean the world to me. It doesn't matter what the politics are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we don't know each other. Separated by a large barrier of distance and time. Literally, distance and time. It doesn't matter. I love you. You're my sister, you're my flesh and blood. And if there was anything that you ever needed from me, you would have it in a heartbeat. I love you, and I care for you. And that's all I care about. I don't care about all the differences in opinions or politics or attitudes, or I don't care. I don't ask, need, or require anything from you. But I love you because you are. Because you exist. And that's all. Your history with my dad doesn't matter. Water under the bridge. Because time washes away everything. It may not wash away what we've done. That's why there's a judgment day and an accounting. It doesn't matter. But as far as we as human beings, we're both still here living upon this earth because God has decided that we should. Because He loves us. That's all that matters. Alright? Take care. God bless you. And if the Lord wills, perhaps we'll see each other soon. God bless.